Should you eat your main meal in the morning or should you eat your main meal at night? I received a question from a subscriber, Vince45898. Thank you very much for the message, Vince. Vince asks, why don't you eat your main meal in the morning? You need the energy during the day, not at night. That's actually a very interesting question, Vince. So when should you eat your dehydrated dinner? Let's assuming you're on a long camping trip versus your breakfast cereal, or maybe you should just bring 2 dehydrated meals and skip the breakfast altogether. Well, so that's an interesting question. I do talk about that in my book on the section on nutrition here in Adventure Expedition 1. And Vince, the interesting point for me is that on a long trip, not just overnight you could pretty much do everything and anything, even for a couple days. But at night, I really want a warm meal inside of me because after a long day, I'm super fatigued. I want to get that heat into me because I'm sitting in my tent, cold, I'm probably slightly sweaty, and I'm using the stove to melt the snow to get water, so I might as well just fire up this meal, and that would be really good. For me, eating this as a breakfast item would have a couple of downsides. One, it takes a long time to eat a dehydrated meal until you get really hungry in weeks 2 and 3 on a longer winter expedition. Chowing down this 600 calories of, chicken and dumplings, it just takes a while. It's not easy to eat. I have to manage this food pack. There's a lot of effort to it. Would I like to have this? Heck yeah. The problem is too, this almost has no sugar or light carbs in it. Well, this one does, but generally it only has 2 grams of sugar in it. In the morning, I want to get going immediately. I want to feel that power punch, and that's why I use this super bag of 600 calories of granola, whole powdered milk, the Nido powdered milk, and if you can see the grains there, I don't think the camera's going to focus, that's 3 tablespoons of cane sugar. Now you might think, oh, that's a horrible meal. We're not talking about working out the gym for half an hour, going home and then flipping through the TV. No. We're talking about attaching a sled, getting a backpack, and then hoofing it through the cold. So the thing about eating this hot meal at night is it warms me up, but there's the very unquantified but extremely important psychological value. Now, somebody did post on another video about a woman who did I think it was the Pacific Crest Trail or Appalachian, I can't remember which, sorry. She brought 0 stove, 0 anything, and she just went cold meals all the way. Huge advantage, light, easier to deal with. Just the psychological disadvantage of hot meals. She also had the advantage of dropping to a town every couple days to get the psychological value of that hot meal as well. Also, this has a lot more nutrients in it with the veggies and all this. My granola does not, so I need this to give time to cook me up. Plus, too, when you're sleeping, you're not eating at all. So when I bed down at 10 o'clock at night, I'm not getting up until, let's say at Antarctica, it'd be 6 in the morning. Terry and I in Greenland, wherever my Greenland book is, we actually went to bed, we stopped at 4. We went to bed at like 7 or 8 o'clock, and then we woke up at 3 in the morning because of the timing of the heat. So during that time, you really can't eat. I mean, you can nibble on a cookie or 2, but that's not going to be effective. So you need a good hearty meal that's going to sit with you and has more fat and things to keep you going at night. Versus this, all I have to do is pour this in my cup, pour some water in there, stir it up. It'll freeze, sure, but I can eat this while I'm getting my morning preparation going. Trying to eat a hot meal, that's much more difficult. And the huge disadvantage of doing the freeze-dried in the morning is that I have to heat water up. I mean, granted, I can have a thermos, and I use my hot thermos to do my cereal, but to actually have to fire up the stove, mess around, it takes time. And when I get up at either 3 in the morning or 6 in the morning, depending on what I'm doing, I don't want to be messing around with this because I'm tired, I'm bleary, I don't want to have to fire up my stove. So convenience and speed can't be beat here. Interestingly, these have about the same amount of calories, but this gives me the hit in the morning, plus that sugar. Wow, does that warm me up. This is just not satisfying to eat it in the evening. this meal is absolutely satisfying the meat in the morning, but I just don't like doing freeze-dried in the morning. Again, this is my personal opinion. Your mileage may vary. Some people can do this. I've gone on trips 2 days where I didn't bring freeze-dried in anything. I just ate a bunch of bars and cereal. No problem. So that's something to consider, is not only the timing and the food value of what you're going to eat, but the psychological value and also the time you have to spend preparing this sort of meal versus this sort of meal. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave questions in the comments below so I can answer them and help everyone out in their outdoor adventures, whether it's winter or summer. Thank you very much for watching.